Money FM 89.3, the best of Saturday mornings. Singapore Home Brew on Money FM 89.3.
SG60 is coming up. And to celebrate that milestone, the Singapore Indian Theatre and Film Explorers, also known as SITFE, is organising indBOX Film Festival. This will be Singapore's first ever Singapore Indian Film Festival from the 15th to the 17th of August 2025. This national festival is being launched by the Singapore President himself, Tharman, Shanmugaratnam, on the 15th of August. And it is the brainchild of the man sitting opposite me right now, Saleem Hadi, founder and director of the Singapore Indian Theatre and Film Explorers. That's a mouthful. Welcome to the show, Saleem.
Very good morning to everyone. Very good morning to Neil. And to make your life easy, it's actually SITFE. Just more like selfie. You can just take it as SITFE.
See, I figured that. But, some people can be very, patronizing and, what's the word I'm looking for? With acronyms. Do you say them out? Do you spell them out?
Right.
So SITFE.
SITFE.
You're organising Singapore's first Singapore Indian Film Festival. Let's take a step back. What was the genesis for this idea? Where did you get the idea from?
In fact, when I was just thinking that it's actually going to be branded as Singapore's first Indian Film Festival, with my resources, and I just got to know, it's actually the world's first film festival that's actually celebrating Singapore's Indian cinema.
Fantastic.
So the branding has actually changed from Singapore's Indian Film Festival to actually world's first film festival that's celebrating Singapore Indian cinema.
Brilliant. And what was the idea for it? Do you think this area of cinema has been neglected? Obviously, we know the great Malay cinema of Singapore. We know about the Chinese cinema. Was Indian cinema neglected?
No, not at all. In fact, the thing is, I just would want to bring the focus to Singapore Indian narratives. So the thing is, in 2018, I actually started off this particular archival, which is known as indBOX. That's the only archival in Singapore that actually archives all the Indian short films. When I say Indian, means it's not only Tamil, but Malayalam, Telugu, Kannada, basically all the people in Singapore. One of the main requirements is the film has to be made in Singapore.
I was going to ask that. So that's the criteria.
Right.
To play devil's advocate, if it was Singapore money, but it was shot overseas or it had overseas locations.
Okay, now the thing is, we are really... In fact, this particular festival is here to actually ask ourselves what exactly makes up Singapore Indian cinema. So it's a very beautiful question that you have asked, because people ask me, okay, you know what, I have the funds and I want to bring the film, let's say, for example, they want to recreate Singapore in the 1960s. So we can't be technically doing that right now in Singapore. So they would probably have to go to either different parts of Malaysia. So does that then become a Singapore Indian short film, but it was shot in Malaysia? So these are all kind of conversations we would like to have as part of this particular festival.
Wonderful, yes. Wonderful. So what is your ambition for it? Where are we at with it at the moment?
At the moment, we have actually gotten very kind partners who have come on board to say, let me give my contribution to Indian cinema. So where they're actually coming on board to give their short films, they're actually making some connections for me, just like thanks to Tamil Murusu as well, because thanks to them, I was able to have this beautiful meeting with you. And more importantly, there are a lot of industry practitioners as well, like Mr. Muhammad Ali, who has graciously come on board to say, hey, you know what, let me moderate one of your panel. So these are all very micro contributions, which are actually going to be very, very beautiful for the festival.
Tell us about Singapore Indian film.
Okay.
You mentioned earlier, it's very colourful, it's got a great history. Tell us about some of the highlights, some of the things we may not know about.
Like for example, right now, from the records, right, we actually have 3 feature films, from whatever I know, that have actually been supported by IMDA, which is actually starting off from what we call Gurushetram. By T.T. Devamani. Then we have K. Rajagopal's Yellow Bird. And the third one is actually Abbas Akbar's Chennai to Singapore. And these 3 films have very strong narrative. Like the first one is actually about the misfits, the youth in Singapore, and how, in fact, it starts off with the whole passion towards dance, but there's also a very strong underbelly narrative about the gangsterism. So Whereas for the second one, which is with Yellow Bird by K. Rajagopal, is actually about a man who's trying to reconnect back with the society, especially with his family members, when he comes back from his prison sentence. The third one is, I would rather say, is very colorful. It's about a very good friend of mine, Abbas Akbar. I think we can't run away from having a slice of our lives in the narrative, right? It's basically about a filmmaker a Singapore filmmaker who is trying to make a film in India, and how he falls in love. It's a very colorful narrative. So, if from the three films I've just mentioned to you, we have, I would say, dark narrative, all the way to something much more lighter side of things. So I would want to see what exactly are we missing out, or what else can we add on. So I just want to have a call out for short films that's actually going to potentially be made into a feature.
You're calling out for people to make them?
In fact, right now I actually had two call outs, Neil. One is actually a call out for AI films that's going to be an opener video, which means that, when we are watching film like Paramount Pictures, that kind of animation. So I'm actually looking out for AI creators to make that particular logo, which is of IBFF, in that kind of AI.
Wow, in time for this festival.
Yes.
Well, you heard it here first, folks. Out there, animators, creators,
yes, and,
he wants your work.
And the thing is, I'm actually giving them, SITFE is actually giving them a cash prize of Singapore $1,000.
Wow, to design the logo.
To do that, a so-called 25 seconds to 30 seconds AI film, which is what we call the AI video opener for that IBFF. So we are actually getting entries from Singapore, India, Malaysia, and UAE. These 4 countries, films are going to be featured as part of this particular festival.
Fantastic. We're talking to Saleem Hadi, the founder and director of Singapore Indian Theatre and Film Explorers. I said the whole thing again.
Yes.
SITFE. He's organising the world's first Singapore Indian Film Festival, and he wants you to get involved. How do you want the public, the listeners, to get involved?
Okay, one thing is the tickets will be going out, and we intentionally want to have this idea of inclusivity throughout this whole festival, because most of the times, Neil, people usually come back to me and say, hey, you know what, we want to watch, we want to participate in your narrative and into your worlds, but we don't have subtitles. I make sure all the films that are going to be part of this particular festival has English subtitles. That's number one. People are saying that, people are not coming to watch my films. I don't think so. That's a good excuse, especially I'm talking to filmmakers, because if you are going to create a point for them to connect with you, then and on top of that, if they still don't want to come and watch a film, then there's another matter. But you are giving them in a foreign language. How are they supposed to connect with you? So one of the experiments I just recently did is to actually show a Tamil film, which is titled, it's called Moondram Pirai. So where a character is actually having so much of sadness, and he is mumbling some words. But I intentionally told my Chinese friend to say, watch it. So without any subtitles, because I watch Korean cinema, I watch international cinema. So, and I purposely, Neil, though I have the subtitles, I intentionally put myself into this sweet agony to say, what the hell is this guy trying to say? But the emotions are so beautiful, you know for a fact some kind of drama is going on.
Fantastic.
That's cinema.
Yeah.
So before talkies came, it's actually the visuals. So if the visual could actually, if a Korean narrative could make me cry, if a Chinese narrative could make me cry, then there's something very soulful in that particular moment. So that's exactly what I'm trying to invite people to say, hey, there are such gems in our Indian narratives.
Yeah.
That's about it.
I mean, how many, I wouldn't know, what does the catalogue look like? How many Singapore Indian films or short films do we have? Do you know?
So interestingly, I have from whatever I've seen from Asian Film Archives, which is a national body as well, they have about 24 short films, 24 to 26, from whatever I've last seen. The indBOX film archival, which we started in 2018, we have about 164 short films. So now, the festival's main go-to intention is not only to celebrate Singapore Indian cinema, but to also invite people to submit their films. Because, like for example, Neil, if I were to say, I'm sure you would have cried when you were angry, or you might have.
Of course.
Yeah. So let's see if I were to give you a theme. Okay, Neil, can you do for me a film in the theme of anger? So what you're going to do in 2025. And let's see if I were to ask you the same question in 2030. then it might be totally different. Coming back to the anger, because one of the reasons why I'm talking about anger is the base root of the emotion of my creations are anger. So anger could be channeled in a good way. So why I mentioned about anger is in 2025, Neil's version of his film, which is, let's say, it's on the theme of anger, might be way different in 2030. So I would like to archive this particular voices of yours. So every film is actually more like your diary entry. So that's basically why I'm more on a hunt, like I would dare say like a Robin Hood, to actually gather all these films to actually be put into our archival.
I admire it. I really do admire what you're doing. It's so fabulous. It's a 3-day festival you're aiming for in mid-August, as we mentioned earlier. You've got the Singapore president coming down. You don't have that much time.
Yes.
And you're calling out for volunteers. I mean, what do you need? At this point, what have we got? Just over a month to go.
Yes, correct.
What do we need to make this Singapore Indian Film Festival a huge success?
Okay. One of the things, definitely, we would need funds for it. And we have actually started what we call giving.asia. That's particularly when they actually go to my URL. They should be able to see this particular link that they can actually donate any amount, because even if it's a simple collateral, it takes money. And it's not that people I'm asking, hey, everybody, let's come together. No doubt the community is super on about this, but we still need to serve some food.
Of course.
So the thing is, I have actually pumped in about a good decent 45K of my own funds on this particular project.
Hang on, your own money?
Yeah.
You've put in $45,000 of your own money?
Yes, in fact, that's similar to exactly what I did in 2018 as well, because that was a 80K project where I pumped in my own 45K as well. So technically, if you were to put it, it's a 90K investment.
Yeah.
So now I'm just looking out for whoever and anyone, any organizations, any corporates, philanthropists, or sponsors to actually see what is the level of support they can actually extend to this festival. So secondly, we would be having a call out for volunteers to actually be part of this particular festival, which is actually going to happen for the first time in Singapore.
Well, I've got to intervene here, Saleem, and say this man is literally putting his money where his mouth is. He's putting $45,000 of his own money to produce the world's first Singapore Indian Film Festival, which I think is absolutely amazing. We have lots of corporates, lots of companies, lots of CEOs, lots of C-suite leaders listening to our show, big pockets, lots of boxes to tick, lots of ESG boxes to tick. Put your money in his film festival. So where should they get involved? Where should they get in touch if they want to support your festival?
They can actually get in touch with me. I make sure that my phone is like super switched on all the time. I'm making sure I have at least about 2 or 3 power banks with me.
Yep.
So they can contact me at 8268-6481. 8268-6481, or they can actually go to my Linktree and indBOX FFSG.
Fantastic. So, what is your final question? What is your hope for this festival?
In fact, Neil, it's a very beautiful question that you're asking me, because this is a question I wake up every single day. This is a question I actually go to every single day. And I recently shared with another a good friend of mine from Dubai. Her name is Miss Deepika. So the thing is, I did mention to her, hey, you know what? I'm actually seeing President Tharman coming into my dreams. And one of the beautiful thing is I have this mango associated with this whole festival. So the thing is, I am looking out for non-Indians actually, because Indians would naturally gravitate towards Indian narratives.
Yeah.
So, but my big hope is, I'm a big fan of Gotong Royong, which is a Malay word, which means community spirit. So across all my initiatives, from whatever I've been in the industry for about 30 years, being a filmmaker, theatre practitioner, writer, and educator, I'm always trying to see how I can bring about this community spirit, because it's a sad thing that's fading off. But I thought this SG60 would be a good time for us to revisit why we are and what we are doing together. So I would like to see how many non-Indians are actually coming to a collective narrative which we are all part of.
That is beautifully put. That's Saleem Hadi, the founder and director of the Singapore Indian Theatre and Film Explorers. I say it better when I say the whole thing.
Nice.
He's trying to get some funding and volunteers together to put on the world's first Singapore Indian Film Festival from the 15th to the 17th of August. The Singapore president will grace the event. He's put 45K of his own money in. Now he needs your support and your volunteers, so get in touch and let's make this festival happen. Saleem Hadi, thank you so much for coming on Money FM.
Thank you so much.
To listen to more great interviews, download our podcasts at audio.sg or download the audio app. That's AWEDIO, audio at the App Store and Google Play.